The way that you think of $100 million is the way that your specific person views you, which I know sounds crazy. So think about how abundant, how confident, how amazing you feel if you were to be given $100 million. That's what your specific person thinks when you show up in their reality. And you might be, again, thinking like, where's this coming from, Kyle? What does this have to do? Like, I get it. I don't maybe feel that way, but I get what you mean. But so the reason I'm bringing this up, and something I really want you to know, is because in every single coaching session I do, I always ask people, so like, what doubts do you have? What doubts, what questions are coming up during the process? Because when you have questions and when you have doubts, they give a lot of information to what you are thinking, what you're feeling, any limiting beliefs, and is actually going to propel you to your manifestation. So never worry or fear about doubts, but that's one of the doubts they had. And it's something, and not that they are $100 million to their specific person, but the doubt was, they asked, how can I change their mind? How can I change my specific person's mind? And the trick is, it's really simple, and maybe it's even something that you've thought of before as well. Like, how do I change my specific person's mind? How is that possible? But the trick is, remember, you're not changing your specific person's mind in the direct fashion of the way that you would think. We are changing ourselves, and that results in a change in our reality. So going back to the $100 million example, that's what I want you to think of when you are manifesting. If I were to give you, or you were to win $100 million in the lottery, how would you feel? You'd be very happy. And if you guys know and are not new to this channel, you know where I'm going with this, because this is kind of the same concept when it comes to free will. If you received $100 million, you'd be really happy. You'd be really abundant. You wouldn't really have the desire for any other money, right? You would be so fully fulfilled, and you would feel so good, so confident, so happy. And you wouldn't be sad that you no longer didn't have $1 million. And you wouldn't be like, wow, that's ridiculous that they forced me to feel this happiness, the winning the lottery or anything. You'd just be really happy with the thing, with the $100 million. You'd feel very abundant and very positive. That's what your specific person thinks of you. And so you showing up in their reality, they become super enthralled with this idea, super abundant, super happy. And when we think about it like that, does the $100 million have to change your mind? Is it trying to convince you to like it? Is it trying to convince you to value it? You'd say no. The $100 million or whatever currency you have, that it's positive and valuable in its own. And it knows that, right? And so that's why its value is the way that it is. And that's your value with your specific person. So the concept of how do I change my specific person's mind, running at a deeper level, so now we're getting really deep, is that we feel like we want to get something from nothing. Manifestation isn't about staying in the same state, staying exactly as you are. It's about assuming and changing states, and not by, because I would say most of us accidentally end up in a cycle. Like if you feel like you're doing the same thing over and over again, it's the cycle that we feel as if we want to get something from nothing. So get something without changing our states. But that's the whole process of manifestation, is changing states. And so actually, before I go any further, if anyone here, I know it's like halfway through, I probably should have included this at the beginning, but anyone who did reach out to me, because I was accepting 4 people into a free coaching session to manifest in January. Thank you guys so much for all the responses that you guys sent out. So I'm trying to push through, figure out exactly, I'll be asking everyone questions about like, are you dedicated? Are you positive? Are you ready for this change? So be patient with all that. I'm going to try to do like most of it today. It's, I'm trying to look at what time it is right now, but I'm going to attempt to do most of that today. And so thank you so much for everyone reaching out. I think I got so many responses. I think I'm going to try to do like because I wanted to do the 4-person session. And then I think I'm going to try to create maybe like another sort of session. So let me know if anyone did reach out for the 4 free spots. If you did reach out for that, let me know if you would be down to go into a different session with kind of more people involved in that way. Let me know down below. But just something I wanted to add out. So I will respond to every single person that responded. So don't feel like I'm ignoring you at all. And if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, check out my previous video on the New Year's Day, that this is your year with your specific person, and it explains everything. It's kind of near the end, like the last 10 minutes. But so that, I just wanted to make that announcement. So anyway, we feel like we want to get something from nothing. And Joseph Murphy, Neville Goddard would totally disagree with that concept, but we end up in it because the change feels uncomfortable, right? The changing of becoming someone else is what feels kind of uncomfortable. And so we think about that, even the question, how can I change their mind? That in itself is attempting to push off the change to someone else, right? We're attempting to have someone else do the effort for us. And again, though, you're the creator of this reality. It's your reality. So when you think of changing or becoming a new individual, seeing the change you want, because instantly, you can have this change instantly. And that was even one of the other questions that they asked. How can I change their mind? But then also, how do we get these like quick successes, right? I'm trying to look at my notes that I had specifically on it. Because I think that's basically the overall arching question. How do we then change over? Like, how do we manifest quickly? But it's to remember that we have this illusion, and I'm kind of giving this illusion right now, that change is something difficult or something hard, but it really isn't, right? You can be someone else instantaneously if you wanted to. Like, right? Like in an example I use, if you're an author and you want to change into being a video game streamer, you can do that. Who's stopping you from doing that? Literally, you could overnight be like, you know what do I value? And then you would go into that. So then our value is what's placing us on doing what we want. So when you know exactly why you want to be with your specific person, it's like, that's going to be all that you need to do. But the trick is then, and I've used this example a really long time ago, so it's a throwback if you're an OG Kyle August subscriber. Beliefs are viewed, and Tony Robbins used this idea, and I love it. Beliefs are in the same way of like tabletops. So I want you to think of your belief. There's no really tables around here, but think of your belief as a tabletop, okay? What supports a tabletop? And you'd say there's a bunch of legs that stem off of it that support that table. And those are beliefs. So when we have a positive belief, a positive assumption, it's things that we're including in our reality that support it. Okay? So if you feel like an author, or you feel like you are who you are, it's only because of past events or past things that have occurred that makes you feel that way. But so in that case, when we're like, how do I change my specific person's mind? It's because in this example of a tabletop, we feel like there's so many legs on that table that it's impossible to change. But that's not true, because all we have to do, grab a totally new tabletop, or start, if it's a belief you don't want, you need to start just knocking the legs over metaphorically. But then the trick is then, we get under this illusion that change or manifesting our specific person, becoming someone different, doing something we've never done is really difficult because we forget how we created any belief in the first place. Every single belief that you're ever going to create, ever going to see, ever going to have was at once a blank tabletop that was really wobbly, right? Like think about you, maybe you're that author in that example, or you're working this, doing this, go to school, whatever, who you think you are. At one point, you weren't that individual, right? And then how did you become them? And you would say you had the conviction to push through and become. And again, I've had instances of changing like who I am, not just focusing totally on self. I had instances of changing just like that overnight, instantaneously from events happening. And it kind of gives some insight into Eckhart Tolle and the power of now, in that his whole enlightenment idea, because because I know sometimes we don't like to use the word enlightenment because it's like it doesn't mean what we think it means. But the whole concept of his enlightenment was something really, really traumatizing that happened to him. And it changed his mind overnight. That's conviction. But so then when we think about becoming, we're not changing our specific person's mind. We're not the $1 trying to convince someone that they actually value us as $100 million. We become the 100 million, and that's how the value then becomes. And we could even relate this to other people or other objects like products. If Pepsi makes a new drink, I don't know, do you guys like Pepsi or Coke in the comments? If someone make a new Pepsi and nobody's buying it, there's two options, right? They can either try to market it. If they think their product is good, they can try to market it, right? But, and I know now we're getting into this weird marketing jargon, but really though, if they create a product that's good, you don't have to be convinced that it's good. And I would say that's like all of the products. Has anyone tried to convince you Pepsi or Coke or whatever your favorite drink is good? Has that ever told you, oh, you actually dislike it, but it's actually good because of blah, blah, blah? Has that ever worked? No. So it's like, why do we attempt to do that with our specific person? We're not changing anyone's mind. We're becoming the 100 million. We're not going to act as a dollar and try to convince our SP that we're 100 million. No, we are the 100 million. And that's what we always talk about. And that's how we make it easy and effortless. And that's how I like my coaching to be. And I like your manifestation to be. I want it to be easy, effortless, automatic, right? So that's all a change of self. And so sometimes if we focus, and it seems very, I don't want to say like opposite, maybe that's the word. It feels opposite because we think, no, but I need to be working, I need to be trying hard, I need to be doing all this extra stuff. But that's not the case at all. When you're manifesting, changing yourself is changing your reality. That's how it is. But usually we always think my external comes first. I must see what I want in my external reality before I can feel it. But that's not how it works. You don't treat $1 as 100 million or like, I think you get what I'm saying. But basically the dollar becomes 100 million and then it becomes this, like you see the change in your reality. You see the impact that people are having. But then, so there's nothing that we're doing incorrect or wrong or not right, because that's one of the things that we think about when you think of how can I change my specific person's mind. Because a further question of the subject was, I don't know what they want, I don't know what they feel, but would you want $100 million right now? You'd say yeah. So then it's like, in that case, what are you worried about? Like, you are going to show up in your reality to your specific person in that way. They will see and view you as $100 million. You are showing and bringing them that much value, that much wealth, and that much abundance. And it's only us that needs to think and feel that way in order to see it. And I know sometimes, so it's like the law of assumption, assume as if you are. I usually like to make kind of videos like this, talking about like tabletop beliefs, or like that sort of thing, because it helps us with understanding it. And I know it seems like a logical way, but A Course in Miracles, that book that you guys know I love, talks about that. And I always agree with that. And it's funny, it put into words what I always thought and would teach and coach, but never knew how to specifically say it. It talks about how, well, I mean, I would say it, but I wouldn't like say it. It talks about how beliefs can, if you don't have fully the belief or the ability to, you don't feel, you always have the ability to jump into whatever belief. But if you don't feel ready or willing and available to do that, then what you can do is use external things and events to support that belief and idea. And so the funny thing is, that's where like techniques come in, which I know sounds crazy, that we think techniques are totally not even necessary, but they're really not. They are used to help us get into the belief. That's the point of a technique, right? Or if, let's say you wanted to be healthy and divine guidance was to go to the gym. The gym is technically to help us get into that belief. So that's kind of what affirmations, visualization, things are. This video, even including, is helping you understand that you already have the power within you to then change. So then the trick is, utilize everything you possibly can. And again, this is the concept of why I was mentioning this is more of like a logical thing, sort of kind of idea. But logic doesn't exist. Like logic, what we think of as logical is logic to one person, but not to the other. So if we want to make huge changes in strives, and I didn't put this on here, but you can ask yourself basically, if you think about getting into this state, like how would I feel? How would I be in this end state? How am I at $100 million? And what's the difference, quote unquote different? There is no difference. That's a secret between you and this person who you think you want to be. You have them within you. You always have the ability to access that. But you might think, what right now is causing me to not feel that way? And then when you answer that question, then you're going to know, where does my state not align with exactly what I want? And then you know exactly what to go, how to go, what techniques, affirmations, things like that to use in order to help you feel into that state. And you can also use thinking, now that I included the tabletop idea again, and I might even make like another like class or workshop thing sort of concept on this, but the tabletop is that same thing. What belief do you want, right? What belief do you want? Confidence, abundance, loved, I don't know, whatever you want. What legs are going to help you feel and believe that to be true? So let's say you want the tabletop I'm always in communication with. What would make you feel that to be true and within your control? So a super empowering idea. And then you're going to find that doing that, supporting that belief with the legs, like metaphorical legs, to keep this table up and supported, the more legs you add, the more indestructible this belief is going to be. And like I said, belief you don't want, if you do something you feel is not in the state of you acting like 100 million, start to get rid of those beliefs. So let's say you wanted to not work out. I don't know, you're like, I don't want to be that active anymore for whatever reason. A belief would be, if you go to the gym every day, you need to stop doing that, right? It's like every single state can seemingly take effort because it seemingly is just stuff supporting your belief, which usually comes through like actions in your reality. So that's something I want you to think about. What actions are supporting a certain state or belief? Because every state takes, and I'm going to say this word, but it doesn't mean what you think it means, work or effort and attention. Like people don't just accidentally get into the state. Like think of, what do you do for a living? Did you accidentally end up there? You'd be like, no, it was kind of consistent effort to show up at work or to support the belief. Or what is it, something that you like to do? Is this something you just like accidentally end up doing, or do you choose to do it? And those are the things that are going to change the way we view our reality, and then again change us from thinking, how do I change my specific person's mind, to how do I become the individual that my specific person is in love with? And then that is the abundant, unlimited aspect that we're going to have. And then you're not going against something that's not right? Like you're not changing your specific person's mind. That in itself seems like a not right thing to do, right? That makes you feel like you're forcing your specific person to be with you. But that's not the case. You getting into the state, your reality wants to bring you exactly what you want. All you have to do is assume the state. That's the only thing asked of us and of you right now, is just assuming the state, getting into the state, getting into the feeling. That's the only thing that you need to do and the only thing that you need to worry about. And so keep that in mind every single step of the way. And you're going to find that anything you feel was in your way is going to completely evaporate, because it's always your choice of what to do, when to do it. And I would say, and I've been a supporter of this idea of like, the way you view things matter massively. The way that you are viewing your reality matters massively. If you think I'm trying to change my specific person, change their mind, you're going to go about it way different than if you think I'm changing myself to become the $100 million, right? Like, because how do you think if you're like, oh, I'm going to change my specific person's mind? Now it feels manipulative, like controlling, right? And how do those feelings make you feel? Not good at all. Your reality, again, wants to bring you what you want through love and positivity. So when you become that individual first, it automatically comes to you. Kind of like the aspect of, if you build a garden, butterflies show up. automatically. You wouldn't try to trap the butterflies and force them to come to you, right? You'd be like, that wouldn't make me feel good at all. But when you build a beautiful garden, everything comes automatically. You're building the garden in your state, and then the butterflies, the SPs, the money, the wealth, the life comes to you automatically. You don't have to try to strive for it. The only striving is changing of state. And really, again, the only reason we seemingly can't jump into a state is because we are so transfixed on previous events. So like if yesterday you didn't get the communication you want, that's like a support or a leg to the table that thinks I'm not timing out. That's a table, okay? So the table, it's a leg to the table if you didn't get a message yesterday that you are not in communication. But that doesn't mean anything. You always have to have a goal unseen before it's seen. You must not be in communication to have the desire to then be in communication, right? That's like an aspect of our reality. So always keep that in mind. Hopefully you guys are liking the longer videos because I know this one was pretty long as well. I wanted to make it even longer like my video yesterday, but I had a different video planned for today, but I realized I needed to announce the four group people. Still though, remember, reach out to you. If you reached out for that, totally open. Let me know below if you guys are like, yeah, if you can't get the 4-person group, would you be okay with doing like a larger group where I work with a bunch of people? And I actually just received another message, a customer message. So if this was you sending me this, watch out for your response. Because I want everyone to get into the state, get into the feeling. And I think it would be so much fun and it would be so great to like work with you and have you manifest your specific person first month of January so you can spend all of 2024 together. I'm so excited to do that. But just so in the comments, if you are not one of the 4 in like the main group, and there's no main group then, would you be okay or want to be included in another group that might be a little bit larger? So it might be more like more people potentially talking in it. Because it's also like time zones matter with that. Is that something that you'd be okay with as well? Just let me know in the comment section below. But remember, if you comment, yeah, that would be awesome. That doesn't mean you won't be one of the 4 for the first group that I mentioned. But it just means it gives me an idea of, because I think I want to make another group. So actually, I think you guys are totally fine with that. I think you would be fine with that, right? Hopping in if you don't make the 4 to make a different group at a different time. But I'll let you guys look out for the messages if you sent it to me on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, I guess not YouTube. It'd be through my website. I don't think you can send a message on YouTube. If you did send me a message on YouTube somehow, which I don't know how you would do that, send me it on through my email or something like that. But thank you guys so much for stopping by today. Hopefully today, January 2nd, going into the new year, hopefully you guys are excited to manifest your specific person this month through that coaching. But again, let me know questions, comments, things like that below. Also, if you wanted to reach out to me, if you're like, oh my gosh, Kyle's doing a group with 4 people for free that help and work together, reach out to me at kyleaugustcoaching.com and just send me a message or send me a direct message on Instagram or TikTok. My website is going to be the main thing that I'd focus on to send it over there. Because for some reason, I have so many messages on Instagram, and it's so difficult they like don't load correctly. So keep an eye out again for the response. I'll probably be asking you questions of like, oh, how do you feel about this? Or what about this? Can you meet at this time? So again, keep an eye out. Thank you guys so much for stopping by today, and I'll see you in the next video tomorrow.